something that the Regents Cup brings to debate that I think is kind of different is the fact that there are winners and losers and the stakes are really high. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's fascinating that we look at it as this really competitive sport almost. And I wonder if that maybe leads us down the wrong route.
Very well could be. I'm glad you mentioned, your willingness to disagree.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Discourse Debrief. I am Peyton.
I'm Logan.
I'm Bella.
And I'm Madeline.
These are two special guests today who are our co-hosts of our other podcast.
No Need to Argue on Spotify.
Yes.
Check it out.
Go check it out.
Now, before we get into what their stuff is, first we want to cover some events really quick. So by the time this uploads, this year's Regents Cup competition, we have debate and storytelling, which Logan and I will be participating in. It's going to be Saturday, April 12th, which, again, if everything goes according to plan, will be tomorrow of when this gets uploaded. So go check that out. I imagine it'll be live streamed.
At least the final few rounds.
Yeah. Be really interesting, really fun. And then
you can win a ton of money. Participants can win a ton of money. It's
That's
real
true.
stakes.
There are some bands on the line.
It's pretty cool.
To say the least.
Yeah.
But and then at the beginning of May, I believe, I think we might still be ironing out the date. I'm not sure. We will have our final end of semester Discourse series event. It'll be a student-led discussion roundtable about the state of diversity, equity, inclusion, and just general inclusivity within college campuses. That'll be a really interesting conversation, and we'll have more information once that gets a little closer. But now that announcements are out of the way, before we get into our topic, hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning. It's afternoon now.
Yeah.
So I hear that y'all run a podcast too, right?
Yeah.
We do.
Bringing
No
that
Need
joke
to
back.
Argue, baby. We're going to plug it. It's on Spotify. Look up No Need to Argue.
Yes.
And you'll find us by the UA Discourse series.
Yeah, we've got some super fun episodes out.
got one
talking about
coming
some-
up as well.
Yeah.
I think we've got the Spotify in our description somewhere.
Yeah, I think we do. If
Yeah.
not, we can add that.
Sure.
But
anyways, you two want to give just a brief rundown of yourself, who you
Yeah,
are,
sure.
what's your major, stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm Bella. I'm a journalism major and a senior at the UA. Gap year girl, though, so I'll still be around. I love running. I'm currently doing 100 miles in April for
Damn.
American Cancer Society.
That's cool.
I've run 14. I'm exhausted, but I'm happy to be here.
But you're here.
Yeah.
All right.
Donate to her link
Real
on her
it's
Instagram
in my
story.
Instagram story, my bio.
Yeah. It's
Going to
great.
cancer, so if you don't,
Yeah,
Yeesh.
support the good cause. I'm Madeline. I'm a sophomore here at the University of Arizona. I'm an English major with a minor of PR, so I'm not going to be going into teaching English. I get that question all the time. Extracurricular-wise, right now I'm currently working on sewing a pair of sweatpants. I don't know. I don't do a lot of fun.
Okay.
I don't do a lot of things for fun, but that's my project right now. My ADHD project coming up. So
love it.
hey, I respect it.
Yeah.
Sweatpants, I wish I could make my own clothes. That's such a cool thing.
You can.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Me too, baby.
But then I get distracted and I have my own little ADHD
That's
project.
so real.
I just put on a show, and just start stitching it
Yeah.
out. It's fun.
That's good.
It's
That's
good.
good stuff.
It's
I
a
might
nice
look into
hobby.
it.
I like little niche hobbies.
Therapeutic.
Fair
Well,
enough.
speaking of niche hobbies,
Oh, God.
our
What a
podcast, as you may or
transition.
may not be familiar with, we have a topic and we just yap. We're honest with our opinions. If we disagree, we disagree. If we don't, we find ways to disagree because it's the Discourse Debrief. So, Logan, what are we talking about today?
Yeah, so the kind of group consensus that we came to about 5 minutes ago was we're going to be talking about debate. We have our Regents competition for you guys. It's tomorrow. For us, it's a week away, so feels like it's fairly important right at this moment. So, yeah, I guess very broadly, we're going to be talking about, what is debate? Is it effective? How can we apply it in our real world lives? Especially me and Peyton, we're going through the competition. How can we use it to just kind of go through life? So I guess just kind of immediate thoughts. Let's go around and just talk.
I'd like to hear from our guests first.
Yes.
Love it. I think that, okay, I am in journalism, and I love the idea of going into investigative journalism specifically, but I think anything to do with news, politics, foreign policy, et cetera, is something that I'm interested in. And I believe that the reason why is because I'm good at just chatting with people about things that I disagree with them on. And I actually genuinely look forward to the conversations that I get to have with somebody that I know disagrees with me, because I'm hoping that I'll learn something. And I think that, I think like the secret, honestly, to like changing the world, if we want to get there, and I might be naive, but I really believe that the way to change the world is to just honestly be able to chat and to be able to like share ideas and learn and actively listen and grow and whatever. And so I think debate is really great. Something that the Regents Cup brings to debate that I think is kind of different is the fact that there are winners and losers and the stakes are really high. And so I think that's fascinating that we like look at it as this really competitive sport almost. And I wonder if that maybe leads us down the wrong route.
Very well could be. I'm glad you mentioned, your willingness to disagree with something, because that's like, shout out Ted. That's something Ted instilled with us for Regents in like the first couple months. So yeah, we can kind of get into that later. But Addie?
Yeah, I think debate and discourse is super important. I think that if everyone kind of had the same opinion and didn't disagree on things, the world would be kind of boring.
Howard Zinn, baby. We were just talking about this.
Yeah, we were just talking about this on our podcast that'll be uploaded sometime. But it's important to have different opinions. And what makes us human. It's what makes us super unique. So I think it's important to hear everybody out. Not everyone's going to have the same opinion as you, and I think it's just important to be able to communicate your differences and come to like even mutual standing effectively.
And like promote empathy.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that kind of leads me into a thought of, like our traditional conception of like debate, like when we're not in like the discourse series context, is like this picture, right? There's not a whole lot of compassion in there. What is it, do you think, leads to, I guess, the popular conception being there are winners and losers? We kind of see that compassion, empathy part maybe forgotten or set aside. Why do you think that is in our country?
I think because a lot of people have forgotten that passion is absolutely, hands down, a really, really powerful tool, 1,000%. Having the ability to make your point and to be concise and to do it passionately, academically, professionally, that is a huge skill, 100%. But I think that as a society, we have really embraced that, and we've forgotten that an equally powerful skill in debate and in conversation and in life is empathizing with other people. Because honestly, I think maybe like the female experience has taught me this, but I find I am the most effective debater when I sit and I listen and I understand the position that you're trying to get me to agree with. And I remove myself, regardless of whether or not I agree. I need to understand exactly what it is that you're saying and why it leads you to the conclusion that you believe is correct. And with that understanding, I can then weaponize that and win my debate, right? But it's like, I have to understand you first.
Sure. I think I agree with you, but I think like...
And again, I came back to winning, but or just learning. I think learning is a win.
Yeah. I guess like in the terms of like winners and losers, the way I see it is like, I think that people believe that they're just absolutely right without nuance and just everything they say. And like grounding that in Regents, we're assigned our positions, so we have to stick to that. So you mentioned like mutual understanding, like there's not much room for that in our debates beyond just like definitional stuff. So it is very like you have to 100% believe what you're saying, otherwise you're kind of screwed. So yeah.
Yeah, I have a similar kind of, I don't know if I want to call it strategy, but like when I'm talking to somebody, if it's not like Regents context where it's like we're going into this is a debate, there's winners and losers, it is very powerful to just listen. And I like asking questions, but not necessarily from the point of like, you're going to slip up somewhere, I'm going to catch it. And
yeah, it doesn't need to be a challenging tone.
Yeah, I'm not saying that's what you do every time, but what I do is, I don't know, like the more I learn from people and have these conversations, I learned that everything that they believe is grounded in something real, right? Some kind of emotion, some kind of experience that we can all relate to. There's always going to be some fundamental uniting factor 100%. Between anybody. I just feel like, with how contentious today's political climate is, especially in America, it's kind of hard for people to remember that. But yeah, what do y'all make of that?
I totally agree. I feel like that goes really along the lines of what I was saying.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I completely agree.
Maddie?
Yeah, I think everyone right now on both sides of the political sphere, let's say, are very riled up, very hot-headed. Like everyone's about to blow their top at any second, and I think that we're all like on both sides. Everyone's losing sight that we're all in this together, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it's if you just start going and attacking people for believing one thing or believing another, nothing's ever going to get changed. Nothing's ever going to be fixed. The more aggression that you show and like just having so much hate without empathy, I don't think that the things the things that you're trying to push across, it's not very effective. It's just kind of sound like a screaming match, and it's just going round and round and round, and no one's really ever going to get anywhere.
Do you, I have a question for that. Do you think there are some instances, some cases where that kind of aggression is justified?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure totally. In some cases, it's totally justified, like Bella said, with the passion. Mm-hmm. Everyone has passion for things, and that's how you feel. But I think in a lot of situations, even if you are talking to someone, like I see a lot of people on the street with like the street interviews. They're like, oh, do you feel this? And they'll just start like screaming. And I'm like, that's not an effective way of communicating. You're making yourself sound like an idiot without calmly explaining what you're saying, because now you just sound like kind of crazy.
Yeah, and like another example is like the people on university that have like all these provocative signs. Like nothing productive is coming out of that. Yeah. You're either looking for attention or you're trying to sell something.
I think they're looking for attention. I think they just are like rage baiting. I think that's all that they're doing. I don't think they're actually trying to push anything. I think they're just trying to get people mad.
I think any sort of like social movement or social congregation that you can note, like there's a serious lack of organization that's visible to the outside, viewers, whatever. I think that that's ultimately always going to be ineffective. If you don't have organization, nothing will happen. But I also think that passion is really great. And you said, is there a moment where passion is acceptable and where that, maybe if you don't employ passion, you're not doing the right thing. I think that there are cases like that. But I also think that a lot of people nowadays are a bit frightened of maybe the passion. I think, when you see, we always have like, I talk about this stereotype of like the blue-haired, super duper liberal, like feminazi kind of like, and that sounds really crazy, and maybe I shouldn't say that, and maybe that's, not very PC of me to say, but it paints the picture that I want to paint. And the idea is that when people come in with a hot head and there's just passion from the get-go, nowadays, I think a lot of people take a step back and they're not actually listening anymore. They're just like, whoa, that is really overwhelming, and I don't want to take part in that.
Yeah, there's definitely like, and we've talked about this in context of regions. Ted has been very careful to like, hey, try to leave politics out of it, because the judges will throw up barriers and walls. They'll just stop listening to you as soon as you do that. So I think that's definitely true for everyday life as well.
Yeah. And I also think like passion becomes more acceptable in everyday conversation when we create a space where conflict is more normalized.
From that, like how can we kind of ground this more in a campus setting, like being on a college campus and whatnot?
I mean, like, how often do y'all talk to your peers and your friends about politics, about the hot topics?
Every goddamn day. But we also don't have that same passion problem, or at least my friends don't. Well, maybe Robert.
But you're in the Discourse series. Like, I mean, it makes sense that you and like the groups around you are naturally going to be more inclined to get into these chats. But I find like I'm a new intern, and my wide variety of friends, some of them want to get into politics and a lot of them don't. A lot of them are really tired. A lot of them don't want to chat about it. They're sick of it. They don't want to hear about it. They're done.
This is something I write about a lot in like my essays. Is like politics leaves a bad taste in people's mouth, and that's kind of like, it just sucks, but it's true. And broadly, there's not a whole lot we can do about it. Like, it's just kind of gotta pass. It's just like a phase, but yeah, it's really unfortunate for sure.
Yeah, I think on like an individual basis, you just need to be able to like have those chats with as many people on
Definitely.
a like daily basis, like as frequently as you can.
Yeah.
Without a judgmental or like shameful tone, you know, and I don't think it should ever be a situation where you're like, you didn't know that? How did you not know that? Do you not read the news? Like, let's not do that. Let's be like, oh, dude, so fair. There's so much going on. I feel like I'm inundated with information every day. This is what's going on that I've heard. What do you
God,
think?
you don't know what Section 3 of the 14th Amendment
Because
says
people do
word for
that,
word?
you know? And I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
So then, like, you know, I think it sounds like we're all agreeing on this idea of like, no, like, compassionate conversations are like what's going to be effective, actually listening, all of that. But by the time we get to that, is that even debate anymore? Or is it more of a conversation?
Well, do you disagree?
Sometimes.
Can you disagree about something and still employ compassion? Because I think anytime you're
Oh,
chatting
yeah.
and disagreeing, it's debate.
I don't. I feel like specifically debate has a kind of, and we've talked about this in a
I
past
guess,
episode, I
yeah,
guess.
I
There's
don't
like an
know, maybe that's
essence.
true.
There's like a vibe.
I feel like debate is kind
Uh,
of like I'm trying to prove a point to you.
Well, it's
Or
like an
convince you.
academic
Stick it to
skill
you.
almost.
Yeah.
Like it is
Yeah.
a skill.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
So maybe it's not like just a disagreement.
Yeah, it's definitely just a kind of like a loose term, but
I think it's up for interpretation, honestly.
Yeah.
Context dependent.
nuance.
It is
Nuance.
context dependent.
But yeah, the reason I bring that up is like, you know, when we ask the question, is debate effective? We have to be careful about defining it, right? Because
Find your terms.
Yeah.
yes,
Debate, baby.
my favorite thing. Everybody in Regents knows. I play with my definitions,
Do you
dog.
go to like law school or something?
Not even. Although I was a philosophy major for a little bit.
Me too.
AZ. But yeah, nonetheless, like when we say like, yeah, conversation, active listening, we're actually caring about what the other person says. You can still have a disagreement there, but when I hear that, I'm not thinking debate. I'm thinking like conversation.
Right.
To-
It's
to me-
resolution. It's resolution based.
Yeah, to me, debate. There's some other component. Would you all agree with this? What do
Yeah.
you think
Yeah.
that component would be?
I guess, well, we can talk about that, but like also to contextualize it, like we can think very, very broadly, like the presidential debates, do we think those are effective at all? Like especially recently, I would think most of us would probably say no. So that's like another aspect we can get into. But having political conversations, those are definitely like good. So it's just kind of like, where do you draw the line between conversation and debate?
Maybe debate's more performative. It has an audience
Yes,
Yeah.
I agree. I would agree with that.
and a moderator.
Yeah. Well, the fun ones don't have a moderator. But yeah. Yeah, that's a good point though. Maybe it is like there is some third party that you are also influencing. If anything, that's the only party you're influencing, because normally your opponent goes in
Yes.
there with like, I'm not budging.
Well, yes, that's another thing about debate is like you have to go in, you have to define your terms, and the entire idea is to disagree,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I think maybe in terms of like big picture, if we're talking about like what's the point of the Discourse series? Promoting productive conversation. I think debate for sure has a role in that. But I think the debate side of it is like, okay, when you're talking to somebody and you've already established you're an active listener, I'm an active listener, we disagree with each other, but we're still gonna talk. I think that's when you bring in those debate skills and you say, well, let's look at this bill. Let's look at this act. Let's define this language because this is why I think that I'm right. And then this person can say to you, I have
do
a
a lot of
different way
that.
to define that language, and this is why I think that I'm right. And then you go on and you swap points, blah, blah, blah. I think a lot of people aren't even at the level where they can employ those skills of debate.
Yeah, and like from that, you asked an interesting question earlier that we haven't touched on yet. Is like, is the kind of Regents foundation of debate kind of antithetical to having these sort of like good quality conversations that are productive? Like, does it kind of go the wrong way?
I want to hear from Maddie because you said like 2 sentences.
Me?
Yes.
So me and Bella, we did some research and we were looking at the current debate topics for the Regents. And we come to the conclusion they're very constitutional, they're very philosophical, there's something that
They're broad.
they're very broad,
They're huge
and
topics.
I feel like it's something that even though like you guys are debating it, there will be no change. It's just something that's like, all right, well, we can go on about this all day, but
Yep.
is it going to get anywhere? And I was
Nope.
saying, me and Bella were saying how we think it'd be so effective if you started bringing in like local issues that pertain to Arizona and the community that you're in.
Yeah, like let's talk about this DEI bill at Regents Cup. Why not? I don't understand.
It's too contentious.
It's silly.
Or even like the healthcare thing, like something that is like tangible, like something that we can fix or we can talk about that could promote
Or
change.
something that the audience will learn things from that are
Yeah.
actually applicable to them and their life every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think talking about
Because
stuff
we
so
know,
broad.
we know about the gun control stuff. We know about the state versus federal stuff. The fact of the matter is that's so broad that frankly, the disagreement that y'all are debating on, the positions, the affirmative and negative, it's not even specific enough to be a real debate. I'm like, I don't even you guys can just say gray. You can be in the gray area the whole time.
Yeah.
Well, that was a strategy used by someone last night. So, yeah, definitely, you're absolutely right. But
Yeah, I get a little silly with my definitions, but like having we've been working through these prompts. Okay, I'm not going to speak for everybody. I'm not necessarily a fan of the wording of these prompts. We really wanted the healthcare one. It's all very constitutional, which just isn't my thing. I can understand it and respect it, but I just don't know enough. But one thing that I think that Regents does do with how broad the prompts are is it forces your teams and subsequently the audience to think differently than they otherwise would have about a prompt. So what Logan was alluding to last night, the prompt we were debating was states have too much authority in education. Because I don't know if we have ops from either other school watching this the day before release, I'm going to be vague, but I'm going to say, you have those words on the board. You can, as I do, play with definitions, right? Mm-hmm. And make the audience, make the other team think about things in a different way than they otherwise would have. And at the bare minimum, Regents is facilitating that. It's getting the audience to think differently than they otherwise would have.
Yeah. I'll kind of add on to that. My team, and I'll be vague for the same reason, we do like to go kind of the unorthodox approach. So if there's an implied binary, we try to find a way out of it. So if there's a prompt that's you would think it's either state versus federal, we try to find a different level. And it's led to
breeding the fucking bureaucracy. You should maybe actually cut that out. But
that's all right.
Yeah, you can say whatever you want.
Well, I know, but I shouldn't say that.
We will absolutely slander.
I want to.
This is the Discourse Debrief, dog.
Well, yeah, the point is that's what I believe.
Exactly.
But I will try to be as unbiased as possible. I just think that...
Not on my podcast.
Yeah,
I think that
you can be you, dog.
I think they are breeding the fucking bureaucracy when they do that. Because I think, they're teaching y'all how to essentially manipulate the language and the rhetoric on the board and in the prompts so that you can get the audience to change their minds about what might be a moral, fundamental, human, economic issue. That's interesting to me. Why are we teaching people how to do that? Why aren't we teaching people how to have honest conversations where we disagree, and that's okay? That, to me, feels really weird, especially with Arizona Board of Regents and just, what their actions are now and have been and what's going on, and the way that they dropped the incarceration and the healthcare prompts at this specific time. Everything feels incredibly well thought out.
Yeah.
And that's definitely true because 3, maybe 4 out of the 5 prompts are essentially just the same thing, just talking about different nuances. It is just
and that's
the
what
same
our
perspective.
politicians
Font
do.
type of thing.
Hello?
Yes, exactly.
I did
so boring.
I did a feature on Trump, bro, and I attended a few rallies. I attended one rally actually. I attended one Trump rally, and I did multiple interviews. And I just asked them why are you here? And not in a accusatory tone, in a genuine I want to understand kind of a thing, in a way that they thought that I agreed with them already before we even had the chat. And the number one thing that Trump supporters told me was his transparency. The fact that he didn't filter himself and that he spoke to these people in a way that they could agree with, and he didn't bend to the wokeness, blah, blah, blah. These people don't understand that what he's saying isn't true. These people like the way that he's saying it. And I think that's just really important to pay attention to as we look at this stuff.
Okay. Do you think there's a correlation there with debate? Is what we're saying, I don't believe half the things that I argue, but I try to say it in a way that is convincing.
That's so. I've never had that experience.
Really?
Like the way I always explain it to people is like, say there's prompt X. I will personally, in the real world, have an inclination towards one side. But when I enter the debate realm, I can find logic that's sound such that I can respect it, such that I believe in it for the purposes of arguing.
Yes.
Interesting.
The importance in that is that your audience is not filled with expert debaters that have learned these skills. Your audience actually may be swayed. And I think Regents Cup and this debate competition, the key distinction is there is an audience. And it's organized, this competition is organized by the Board of Regents.
Yeah, and to that point, it is very, very performative for sure.
It's like way too much.
But we got bands on the line.
Yeah.
Money.
Yeah, hello.
And a trophy.
Oh,
The ugly trophy.
the ugly trophy.
The ugly trophy.
But that's my 2 cents. I don't know. What do y'all think?
I'm excited to hear your guys' thoughts when you come back from the Regents.
Oh boy.
I'm really excited to hear what you guys have to say about how it went and just kind of the whole production of it.
All I know right now is that I hope ASU loses. Sorry, y'all.
No, we're not sorry.
I'm not sorry.
Do you guys think you're going to win? You think you've got it in the bag?
I guess we can kind of explain sort of the broad structure of it. So there are 5 rounds. Everyone does the first 2 rounds.
How many teams?
Yes. So there are 3 schools. Each school brings 4 teams, which
So just wait.
point of frustration. All 12 teams do the first 2 rounds. After the second round, 4 teams get cut, and then it's 8 teams. And so then you have 3 more rounds, so it cuts down each time. So 8 teams, 4 teams, 2 teams, and then the winner of the last round is just the winner. So yeah, I thought I overheard Desiree saying that we could encounter each other in the 3rd round, which I take to mean we won't in the first 2 rounds.
Yes.
Okay, I like that.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
Also, guys, I have class at 1.
Oh, you're good.
So I got to duck out of here. But
What time is it?
I loved being a part of Discourse Debrief. What time is it?
12:50.
12:50.
Yeah, I got to duck out of here.
You're
So
good.
I will see y'all, but thank you. Is that okay?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, where
I
you
can
guys
stay
can,
for
edit
10
this
more
out.
minutes,
All
and
right.
then I'm going to go.
Love. Sorry, guys.
We've been going for longer than I thought.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Okay. Bye.
Bye, Val.
But yeah, it'll be interesting to say the least. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
Do we think we're gonna win? I think we have strong teams.
I think you guys are strong as well from what I listened into. I think you guys have a good shot.
Yeah. I mean, like individually, it's kind of hard to judge yourself to that level, especially because we have no idea what the other schools look like,
Yeah.
what kind of strategies they'll employ. But I mean, just as far as the growth that we've had over the past couple months, I think we have a bunch of teams that are in a very good position.
Are you guys nervous?
I am starting to get nervous.
Really?
Yeah.
Don't be. Maybe a little bit.
I-
The
Bro.
band's on the line. The
Bro, the
band.
bands.
The band's on the line.
15 bands on the line, dog.
15?
If I get first.
What do you win if you personally?
Yeah. And Robert. Or Logan and AJ. Each.
Yeah.
So like
No
one team
way.
of 2 wins, both of them get 15K. Second place, both of you get 12. Third.
Shut up.
You get 8. My dream is third, dog. Because that's rent for 6 months.
Wow.
Oh yeah, I wasn't kidding when I said bands, dog.
I thought it went to like TED and like the intro. I don't know.
Fuck no. I'm sorry, Ted.
No. How did I not know this? I thought this was like it like went to like fund our fun.
Oh no.
You
For Regents specifically, like it is a competition for the teams participating.
Yeah.
For Discourse series things, like there's like any funding that comes in that goes to like the internship.
Yeah.
But that's separate from
from
Regents.
yeah.
It just so happens Ted does both.
Yeah.
I just for some reason I thought it went to TED, and like but like for the purpose of like
Gotcha.
funding Regents for you guys.
Yeah, and like we all get 500 just for going. Yeah.
Guys.
I mean,
No.
that's not even half of, that's like paying off half of my credit card debt the second I get that check. So
Wow. Now, yeah, you guys really got to win now. Now, I'd be freaking out if I were you too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, kind of going back to that. I have this bad habit of like leading up to like any big event, I'll be like super confident, but the minute I get there, I'm like, oh god.
Yeah. One thing I would be nervous about, and obviously I'm not doing it, but like, and I'm not trying to like put this in your guys' head. My biggest fear is like whenever I go, I'm sorry,
You're good.
I'm gonna do this.
Good.
Whenever I like go up to do any sort of public speaking, my mind will just blank. All the information out the window. I don't remember anything anymore. Like that is what would freak me out. Not to freak you guys out. That's not gonna happen to you.
We don't have too much of a risk of that because for our like speech portions, we have like written out speeches.
Yeah.
Although you were talking last night, you have like a bad habit of if you get any amount of distraction, it is gone.
If you like watch me perform, hopefully I will have fixed this a little bit by the time the actual competition comes. But when we're like in our round 2, which is the teams talk between each other, I will like stare off into the void and like go stone face, like I look like I'm so disengaged, but it's because I'm devoting all of my energy to listening to every single word that the other person's saying, so I can be like, oop, there's one I don't like, and then I can build something off of it. Yeah. But on the outside, it looks like, and people are like, he's not engaged, so I have to like
paying
snap
attention.
out of it. Yeah. But
meanwhile, it's the opposite.
Maybe try and like focus on like something in front of you instead of staring off into space.
Then I'm just.
Well, I don't know.
I just need to like keep reminding myself that that's a thing I do and like look around more often.
Maybe blink once in a while, like move your eyes back and forth.
That's crazy.
One of my favorite things to notice, I record my debates that I do, and I'll watch back through them to see like my performance or whatever.
Yeah.
I notice that there are very particular times when the opposition will say something, like stake a claim that I wasn't expecting or something, and I will very obviously go like, like you can see my eyes like dart around as I'm trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that you do anything like goofy, silly in response to like?
Yeah. I'm interviewing you guys now.
I know. I'm enjoying it. Probably. I need to rewatch. I'm gonna get that from you because
I'm gonna upload it after this.
Awesome. Yeah. I definitely just like have a habit of like I will kind of lean back in my seat if like I'm not expecting something because like I have to like whoa okay.
Oh yeah.
Give me
like
give me
literally.
a second. Let me step back from this for a moment and just think. And then there was that one time. Blossom, obviously. She's in the relationship.
Love Blossom. Shout out Blossom.
Oh, my gosh. Yes, shout out. She usually sits right there.
I miss you.
There was one time that she closed in a debate that I was against her. And, like, I swear, every second line, I just kind of, like, crumbled a little bit more. Oh, my God. It was so good. And it just absolutely destroyed our entire debate. Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah,
and
Blossom she's a quick thinker. Like, she's on her toes.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of something, another question that I had. Oh, yes. So obviously before Bella left, we were talking about like the prompts. Can you guys like lay down what they are? Because I'm like a bad intern for not knowing what exactly you guys are talking about.
I can pull them up.
But yeah, do you want to give us?
I'll try and do it off the dome.
Because we were talking about like how it's like super philosophical and constitutional, and like we didn't really give any examples. So I kind of want to hear.
Yeah, the first is the current structure of state and federal authority is justified.
Election authority.
Oh, election authority, sorry. The second is states have too much authority in education. The third is, state restrictions, states being just government in general, not specific states. State restrictions on minors' access to the internet is constitutional. The fourth is, states are the best protectors of minority rights against majority powers. Yep. And the fifth is
the worst one.
Yeah, this prompt we hate it. When in conflict, was it constitutionalism should take precedence over public policy making?
Yes.
Damn, I'm proud of myself for getting all those.
That's impressive.
That really is the same thing in a different font.
It is.
Every time.
Every time.
I feel like that would get so mind-numbing at a point where you're just like, make
We've
it
been
stop.
doing this for months.
Like,
we're like federalism.
and it's come to the point where we just change our arguments. Like we have all gotten tired of like the federal versus state. That now we kind of all just like what I was saying earlier. We just try to find different way of arguing because it gets so boring.
Yeah, I feel like that's just so repetitive. Like, again, like when we were saying earlier, it just goes around in circles and circles because what the fuck are you going to do about it in the real world? Like,
I will say, though, like, taking a step back, like, beyond the absurdity of the prompts, it has been, like, a really great experience.
Yeah.
It has been. Yeah.
What are some things that you think that you've learned the most about yourselves and just debate and the whole process in general? Like, what is, like, those moments for you that you'd like to share?
You first.
I don't know. I need a minute to, like, think about this.
That's true. I before every single practice debate, with the exception of maybe last night, not even actually, I will always insanely, like, not necessarily doubt myself, but I'll, like, be like, I'm underprepared, I'm underprepared, I'm not ready. And I do fine, even though I might not believe that as much as other people say it is, I do fine. So I guess I've learned that I do have a lot of self-doubt about my abilities. But nonetheless, apparently I have abilities. I don't know if that even makes sense.
Yeah, we're our biggest critics, I think.
Definitely.
Yeah, 100%.
For me, it's been my ability to adapt. So this is something, shout out Ted, that Ted has noticed a lot in me is like, if I hear an argument that I am just not prepared for, it's completely out of left field for me, I'm really bad at adapting to it. But then last night, we kind of had the same thing, and I felt like I adapted fairly well, especially compared to previous occasions. So I can definitely feel myself getting stronger in that area.
100%, yeah.
Do you guys have anything, like, just from debate itself that you've learned and something that you wish everyone else could learn?
Like applicable in the real world?
Yeah.
Real world?
Yeah.
Real world.
Real world.
I don't think it's like, okay, I need to know why you giggled there.
I'm honestly gonna say no.
Okay, I was kind of going to go there too.
Yeah.
Really?
Well, like, if anything, it's reinforced in my head that, like, people should learn and get better at active listening. Even if you think you're good at it, like I think I'm good at it, you can always get better. And that's what makes us, or our team, I would say, good at what we do, is we do listen to the other side. Now, whether or not we respond to what they say is a different kind of thing. But I trust that we all, like, listen carefully and consider carefully, especially in, like, doing research. Just a broader sense of being more aware and willing to consider. Not even, like, change, just consider critically.
Yeah.
I think that that's been reinforced throughout our prep for Regents that people could take away.
Yeah, I'll agree with that, and I guess I'll kind of amend my initial no. And this is mostly just for me, because I want to go into politics, like the actual act of debating, it is very useful. Mm-hmm. But if I was someone else, beyond like the research and being able to listen, I don't know. And that is because of the structure. There's a winner and a loser. You have to stick to your side. Mm-hmm. You know, there's not a whole lot of room for like, oh yeah, we kind of just agree. Like that's sort of hard to do, even though we try sometimes. Mm-hmm. So yeah, but regardless, like it has been fun, if nothing else.
Yeah.
However, in this context, anytime we agree, I just call it biting a bullet, because that's what it is in this case.
Yes.
There are bans on the line, dog.
I'm conceding.
Yeah. Bans on the line. That's crazy.
From there, I think that's a good wrapping up point.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Do you want to hit us with the outro?
I would love to. All right. Well, that has been us.
All right. Well.
Yeah, that's been us. Very, very fun conversation about debate and regions. We appreciate Maddie for being on. Belle, of course. Yeah. Fortunately, she had to leave us. So
thanks for having us.
Yeah, of course. We appreciate you being on. Tomorrow for you guys, we will be debating. Hopefully, we make it through quite a few rounds and cook.
Yeah.
And then first week of May, we'll have our end of semester debate conversation thing, whatever we want to call it. Just kind of, we just do what we want to. Anything else that you can think of?
Check out No Need to Argue.
Yes, please.
They are a different style from what we do, but nonetheless very interesting conversations.
Yeah,
they actually have a little more research, put in a little more structure.
They try.
But nonetheless, No Need to Argue. It's on Spotify. It might even be somehow like connected to our Spotify.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, I think if you just go to our page, like both of them are there.
Yeah.
It should be.
Come listen, it's super fun.
Yeah.
We have great conversations. You'll learn a lot. Check it out.
So, yeah, well, I've been Logan.
I've been Peyton,
And I'm Madeline.
and we will see you in the next one.
Thank you guys.
Goodbye.